For a very long time, the UN has been promoting human development. And I was very keen that we also tried to think of a human development report for England. And this Greater Manchester one is the first of its kind in England, but also in Europe actually.
There's this wide range of inequalities within Greater Manchester, and they varied across different parts of the life course. I mean, some local authorities score relatively well on most parts of the life course and others relatively badly, but it's not uniform, and I think this provides a way of developing more targeted policies and thinking about what the real challenges are in each of the different local authorities.
It also, I think, looks very strongly at the differences between gender, ethnicity, both across Greater Manchester, so at a spatial level, but also within those different categories of gender, ethnicity. We've argued really strongly for devolution, for a differential approach within England to public services. What this shows really strongly is we need that differential approach within Greater Manchester as well, that you can't have devolution at UK level, England level, and then have one size fits all in terms of an approach at a Greater Manchester level.
Certain parts of the city region have grown economically and done well, whilst others have stagnated and done less well. At Oxfam, we've been supporting the Human Development Report because we're increasingly engaged with policy and programme work in Greater Manchester to improve the lives of people living in poverty in the city region. We're particularly keen on working with women who are disadvantaged and distant from the labour market to support them to get to a place where they're able to access good quality jobs and move into decent work. So the Human Development Report's a really important part of that because it gives us the evidence we need to see what happens to people during the course of their life.
When we did the global report in 2014, we found quite surprisingly that most countries in the world don't invest in early childhood. They put very little money in it. So if you invest in early childhood, you can actually reduce the cost across the entire life course of an individual, and society benefits.
Poverty in the UK is centred so much around families and families with children. It's really important to maximise the earnings of women and in particular mothers.
I think what this report does is quite innovative. It's for the first time tried to measure what we call human development index levels. So it's like GDP, gross domestic product. But for the first time it's measuring the transition when you're a young person entering the job market, the transition when you're an older person, the transition when you're retiring. So you can demonstrate there's nothing fixed in life. You can improve things at different transitions. And if you invest in those transitions, actually is much more cost effective as well. Sweden, for instance, is one of the few countries in the world which actually puts a fair amount of money in the early periods of a human being. And the result is you actually then have to put less money down the road.
So we recognise what people need at key stages of their lives to do well and realise their potential and to make sure the economy works for them, and that's exactly what this report does. So it's a real opportune moment to consider some of these policy challenges and build on them into the future.